This is Dolynny TV, ladies and gentlemen. You still enjoying today? You still enjoying last night? I think is the better question. That 6-3 win against the Chicago Blackhawks, a huge one, gets the Oilers back into the series 1-1, and we've got for sure Game 4 tentatively, I believe, scheduled for 4:30 on Friday afternoon. So I will keep you updated on what I can swing for that game. However, you know what? There's one thing in particular that came out of the game against the Hawks in Game 2, and I think it's pretty evident exactly what that is. Not necessarily a Connor McDavid hat trick, or the team tightening up, or the team getting the job done. No, 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 no. What came out of Monday night's game is a very, very fun moment in the fact that we saw the elevation of Connor McDavid in the playoffs. Obviously, yes. Did he do anything more offensively? Scored a hat trick, sure, his first career hat trick in the playoffs. Did we see anything more out of him in terms of points production? 3 points in the first game to 3 points in the second game. Different from the first game? Not really. The goals help. Absolutely lead your way, all that. Defensively, you can still make arguments where you want, but all around, that attitude, that will, you know what, that just sense of Connor McDavid on the ice. Yes, you know, it was evident with Athanasiou, but you just look at Connor McDavid. When he was on the ice, he wanted that puck in the Hawk zone. He wanted control. He wanted to absolutely make the Hawks look foolish out there, and that's what he did. 99% of the game, he was driving that play when he was on the ice. The power play a little bit cooler, but you know what? That may be due to a little bit of Leon Draisaitl slouching at a time where he doesn't need to be slouching kind of deal. But I think what I'm trying to get at, the whole Connor McDavid thing, is Game 1 might have done exactly what it'll take for the Edmonton Oilers to go very far in this playoffs and hopefully win the Stanley Cup. Obviously, I have to now say hopefully because nobody's on board 100% anymore, but straight up, is Connor McDavid being pissed off is what the Oilers needed. And I mean, you saw it in Game 1, right? Everybody, the give a crap level was pretty low. We'll put it that way. It was very low. The urgency out of everyone, the physical engagement, the battling, the heart, the hustle, everything was pretty much until the third period non-existent out of the Oilers in Game 1. Well, Connor McDavid, 19 seconds in, gets that team going like crazy. That top line, which had struggled in Game 1, sees a change. You get Josh Archibald on line 1, and 19 seconds into the game, you have an even strength goal, which I think if the Ryan Nugent-Hopkins one was empty net, so 6-4, that would make it the first truly even strength goal of the series after scoring 4 goals in Game 1, and it's Connor McDavid doing it himself kind of deal, right? Yes, the pass finds him, and it's a great play along the boards and everything there, but Connor McDavid's the man marked with the goal. And that was as to be expected going into Game 2, right? That was by no means Connor McDavid scoring the first goal and setting the tone offensively in the goal-scoring department in Game 2. That was not a shock. And what I mean by that is, you know, historically, when Connor McDavid gets questioned for leadership, gets questioned for personality, gets questioned for play, gets questioned, called out, whatever you want to say, he steps up and goes from here to here, and trust me, it just keeps going up for the next little while. So, if anything, looking at it this way, you might almost think that the Edmonton Oilers purposely threw Game 1 so as the media would call into question Connor McDavid's will, Connor McDavid's personality, Connor McDavid's leadership, Connor McDavid's drive, whatever you want to say. And guess what? If the Oilers did that without captain's knowledge, you'd almost assume that was exactly the plan, because the pissed off Connor McDavid, my friends, as we saw on Monday night, is the scariest thing the NHL playoffs have seen in years. Absolute years. The guy out there looked like he could offensively win the game by himself. And that's a little bit different, right? He had 3 points in Game 1, And I don't think anybody was saying 3 points in game one by Connor McDavid won the game himself, or even got the game close, or even kept the game close. However, the difference in game two, as I'm getting points and numbers and everything mixed up, is evident in the physical engagement, the will, and the sheer imposing of his will within the game, right? Obviously, in game two, you didn't see as many situations where Connor McDavid didn't have his man. Even on the Patrick Kane goal, he was there, stick tap, didn't get physically engaged, but he was there, as opposed to in game one where he was absent from his assignments several times, leading to, of course, a couple goals. So game two, you've got Connor McDavid just wild on the ice, going to town and doing what Connor McDavid does. And a lot of that has to do, I believe, and fairly so, with what was said in the media, online, and all across Oilers land and the NHL landscape during the time after game one and the time leading up to game two. Right? Obviously, you know what? I'd call out the guy that called out Connor McDavid's personality, but end of the day, you know what? That guy looks like a fool now. We don't need to call him out. He's wearing the L on his forehead pretty hard right now, so we'll leave that at that. But the other side, too, is you look at his interviews and just straight up, he just didn't even have time. You know what? And actually the hats question where he was asked about what he thought about the hats, and he just basically said it was unnecessary. Well, that straight up shows you Connor McDavid, after he scored his hat trick, he didn't want no hats tossed. He didn't want to pause in the action. He wanted to get right back on the ice, score a goal in another 15, 30 seconds, get his fourth of the night, and really demoralize the Hawks. And you see what I mean? Pissed off Connor McDavid has that drive unlike any other player in the NHL. And, I mean, maybe it's unfortunate that you need to piss him off to get as much as you possibly can out of him. But when you're already getting a lot out of him, and I mean a lot more than 99% of the other players in the league, other than Leon Draisaitl in the regular season this year, it's pretty incredible that that guy still has another gear. And this is probably the scariest thing, as I said, the NHL has seen in years when it comes to the Stanley Cup playoffs. Connor McDavid now with 6 points in 2 games. Yes, Nugent Hopkins has just as many, but when you're playing on the top line with McDavid, you should be doing that, and that's what we expect out of Nugent Hopkins, playing up there if he's going to continue to work up there instead of on the second line with Draisaitl and Yamamoto. But guys, this is exactly what we needed, right? If there was anything out of game 1 to 2 after watching both games that the Oilers were clearly lacking, it is an absolute insane drive to, you know what, screw this. You want to question me? I'll show you what to question. And what there is to question about Connor McDavid's game when he's pissed off and driving it like he was in game 2, straight up, there is nothing to question. And that's the interesting part, right? Like, even in that stream, if you question, okay, floated on by Kane, there's still other guys out there equal to blame. So, right? There's a ton of ways to look at game 2. But when you just look at the compete level out of Connor McDavid, he took himself from here to there. And seeing Connor McDavid do that, as the players have noted since yesterday, is it took them from here to here. And when you've got your fourth line scoring 2 goals in a game after Connor McDavid's scored 3 goals in a game, clearly evident that, you know what, everybody was told, hey, look at that guy. He's stepping up. He's our captain. When your captain does that, you got to go out there and get the job done. And when you're getting goals out of your fourth line back to back within whatever it was, 35, 40 seconds, pretty crazy to see how fast things can change in a hockey game. And you know what? You needed an answer. And that's the thing, right? Is in game 1, those points by Connor McDavid, they were meaningless. However, the goals Connor McDavid scored in game 2 were absolute game changers, right? 1-0. You scored first. Now you got to hold it. Well, guess what? Goal number 2 on an insane dipsy doodle comes from Connor McDavid, and it's 2-0. Yes, you know what? It goes to 3-3, but who scores the 4-3 goal? I'm sorry, it's Connor McDavid, and that's where it all comes to, right? Is when you needed Connor McDavid to elevate last night and be the best player on the ice after he got questioned if he absolutely is the best player on the ice in this series. He was. And that's a scary thing not only for this Hawks team, but for the rest of the playoffs. Because you now know if you're going to question Connor McDavid, whether you're a sports reporter, whether you're somebody online, you're going to see an absolute tornado rip down the ice and score a bunch of goals, 3, 4, who knows how many, depending on how good your goalie's feeling that night or how bad he's feeling after letting in the first Connor McDavid shot. And my goodness, look at it that way. But the other side too is on all of this is the fact that Connor McDavid, when he shoots the puck, guys, good things happen. And that's the key here is, you know what, Connor McDavid knew exactly what he needed to do going into game 2. He did it. And I think he, straight up from here in game 1 to here in game 2, and the difference isn't in the points column. It's in the give a crap effort level. It's go to work level. It's in everything Connor McDavid did, probably said in the locker room. Just went to work. And of course, the post-game interview about the hats, that is, oh, baby, that is the most legendary thing that will happen in this qualifying series, play-in series, whatever pre-playoff series you want to call it. Guys, I'm Tyson. This is Dolynny TV. I will catch you in the next one.